Kevin also wanted to file charges against his own daughter, police said, accusing her of stealing when she went into the house to get some items for her siblings.
So in today's video, we actually have some real shocking revelations that have come out. On where exactly the other two children, the two younger children of Ruby Franke's actually were during this time. We know that in Jodi Hildebrandt's residence, they had found two small children, obviously malnourished, hurt, etc. We all know the shocking story that came out. But now we know where the other two were. They were with someone called Pam Bodtcher. I'm pretty sure that's how you say her name. And this lady, who I actually found out who this was by watching Marky's channel. I absolutely love his channel. I've watched him for a very long time. And he discloses that actually she is the president of the Connections classroom. So here she is. And apparently on the day that Ruby Franke knew that she was going to be caught by the police, she had asked to drop her kids off with her. Now in this news report, they don't even go into detail on who this lady is. They say that apparently it's a family friend, but we now know that this is her. And she is actually the president of the Connections classroom. So there's Jodi, Ruby and Pam. And yeah, so that is deeply troubling, deeply concerning. The children wanted to stay with Pam, but they ended up being moved to Shari Franke, who is Ruby Franke's eldest daughter. She's also supposedly testifying in court against her mum and Jodi.
That same day, Springville police found two of Franke's other children. A police report says they were in American Fork with a woman named Pam Bodtcher, who told officers Ruby had called her saying she had a family emergency and asked if her kids could stay with her. The two children wanted to stay with Bodtcher, police wrote, but were ultimately placed with Ruby's oldest daughter.
So this is Pam Bodtcher, and I'd never honestly heard of her. It says Pam Bodtcher is the president of Connections Foundation. She has a degree in interpersonal communications, a mother of 7 and grandmother of 14. Now, I tell you what I think. I think police, etc., really need to get on top of who this lady is, because this is just coming from a cynical mind of mine, since everything about this case is just so unbelievably disturbing. I think people, if they haven't already, really need to investigate exactly what this lady does, where she comes from, how long she's been associated with Ruby and Jodi, because if she's associating herself with Ruby and Jodi, then surely her views align. And she did have the children in her care, even if it was temporarily. Of course, this is just me probably voicing a concern that may or may not even be needed. But I feel like in this case, just anything is possible. And that makes me quite worried. A lot of people were wondering where the two kids were, and this is what happened. Luckily, they did get put with Shari Franke. Now, we're now going to be changing the tide over to Shari Franke, who was actually going to get sued. Kevin Franke did actually attempt, or did whatever he tried, to get back to sue their daughter, Shari Franke, for going into her mum's house to retrieve some items. But luckily, I'm just gonna put this out here right now. The police basically turned around and said no, because she has a right to go in there. She didn't take anything she wasn't supposed to, etc., etc. So yeah, so that's good. And now he's turning it around and is trying to sue the police. So before we get into the news report, I'm just going to say that this does not look good on him, and it just shows a mass disconnect between Kevin and his children. I mean, a lot of people are very skeptical of Kevin, and I think in a way, rightly so. I mean, this does not help that in any way, shape or form. Why is he wanting to go after his daughter? I thought they were trying to make amends. I mean, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. What is he so worried about her finding, about what her, I don't really get it. Like, that was her home. I'm not saying that was her home at that moment, but once upon a time that was her home. That's her mother's home. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me why he would go so far as to try and sue his own daughter over this. Like I just said, it shows a massive disconnect. So we're going to give it a little read. So it says, Kevin Franke wanted to file charges against daughter for burglary, threatened to sue police. Newly obtained police reports outlined how some of Ruby Franke's children and family members were able to access her home after police served a warrant and broke down the front door of the home. Yes, I remember, and I'm sure a lot of you guys remember as well, the door was broken in, and a few people were speculating on why that is, and now we know it is because it was a search warrant, so police were able to forcibly get into the home. According to a police report, Ruby Franke's husband Kevin, who admitted he hadn't been at the home for more than a year, wanted to file charges against his daughter, who went into the home and took some of the property. Notice how it says the property, not her property, so we're going to find out in a minute just what she took. A report obtained by 2 news shows Springville police officers back at Ruby Franke's home on August 31st, the day after they executed a warrant at the property. The eldest daughter, Shari, had gone to the home to gather clothing and personal items for her 2 sisters. A DCFS caseworker was also at the home gathering items for the 2 other children, who were in state's custody in southern Utah after they were located at the previous day in Ivins at Jody Hildebrandt's residence. Now, this does make extremely plausible sense, because if they're saying that Shari Franke had, temporary custody of 2 of the children, then she obviously wants to go and get some home comforts for them. She wants to go and make sure they've got all the things that they need. That makes a lot of sense. The caseworker informed police they believed Kevin Franke might be at home and that he may not be cooperative, which is why they requested police assistance. When police arrived, Shari, the caseworker, and family members were already inside the house. 2 News obtained a 3rd police report from Springville Police outlining a phone call from Kevin Franke, Ruby's husband, reporting a burglary on September the 1st. Kevin allegedly reported that electronic items, specifically his electronic journals, were missing. He told officers he believes his oldest daughter, Shari, is responsible due to a statement she made in court day. The officer told Kevin the front door had been broken in after a search warrant was served days prior and not been broken by his oldest daughter. So did Kevin go around saying that Shari had gone all guns blazing and just knocked down the door? That doesn't seem, and granted I don't know her personally, but that doesn't really seem, from a 3rd person perspective, it doesn't really seem like that is her character, just to go breaking down doors. Kevin stated that Shari is not allowed in the home and that he believes she entered unlawfully and he wants her charged with burglary, read an officer's statement. Kevin states that he does not want any of the children mentioned in the home at this time. Yeah, but she was going in to get things. She was going in to get things for her, for the kids that you literally haven't seen in over a year. Those kids who were then actually living with her. Those kids, she was going in to get them stuff. What is your issue? I again explained that they needed to get essential items of theirs that were in the home, which he did not see as necessary. I don't like saying this because it just adds to speculation, but what the hell are you so concerned about people finding? Why are you concerned? If not just that, it's just a complete control dynamic. She's literally looking after two of your children, 2 of her siblings. I don't get this. Surely that would be the last thing on your mind when this has been going on in your family and you're concerned that your children are going into the home that they once lived in. It doesn't make any sense to me. The report mentions that Shari brought the items to the Springville Police Department and they were given to Kevin a short time later. Among the items were 3 tablets, 3 cell phones, 3 camera GoPros, a stack of written journals, and 3 passports for Kevin, Ruby, and another one of their children. So these are the items that were found. Maybe the police went through them. Do you need a search warrant for that? I'm not entirely sure how the laws work over in the States in regards to that. They were, given back, and he's still moaning about an electronic journal. The thing is that how, if you're saying that it's missing, but you also say that you haven't been to the house in 13 months or something, how would you know that someone else hadn't have taken it? The timeline's not adding up. Do you see what I mean? If you're saying, where's my electronic journal? You haven't been there for over a year. Anyone could have moved it. Ruby could have moved it. Literally anyone could have moved it. How would you have ever known? The complainant was informed that we would not be charging his daughter with anything, as her intent was not to deprive him of any items she had previously been allowed in the home, and he had not been in the home admittedly for 13 months, the officer wrote in the report. This is it. This is what I mean. How would you even know that an electronic journal had disappeared if you hadn't been there for that long? Am I focusing on the wrong thing? I don't actually think I am, because that was initially, he's like, oh, well, she's been taking items of mine. It's like, how do you not? Anyway, I'm not going to get into this. But good on the police for not falling for this, because this is just controlling, weird behaviour, and it represents a whole different dynamic to their relationship that I suppose it was always hinted at, but it really shows that they're not that close. The officer said that he explained to Kevin over the phone that due to the circumstances surrounding the incident, we would not be filing charges against Shari, and that would be considered a civil issue due to her intent not being to deprive him of the items. Kevin advised that he was going to sue the police department because he was displeased with the answer. The officer wrote, this is really pessy. Like, this is ridiculous. What the hell do you have on that journal? Like, and if it's not anything to do with the journal, then why do you... There are so many bigger things to, like, you had your stuff given back to you. There are so many other things that are going on right now. This is the hill in which you want to die on, really.
Police said they told Kevin there was no crime committed, but he was unsatisfied and threatened to sue.
Kevin Franke's attorney did release a statement to 2 News about this, saying that Kevin never sued and that he and his daughter are working on their relationship. He also said Kevin is still trying to understand and correct the upside-down world that was dealt to him. It is a lot to deal with all at once, he says.
Now, I call damage control. Kester, you're doing damage control. Like, honestly, I've seen that man do more interviews than anyone else in this whole situation, I swear. But no, damage control. Like, they literally, even in this video, they were showing you, like, the police reports. Like, why would the police be making up this stuff? No, this is just damage control. Maybe Kevin takes it back and he maybe thought, oh, I acted a bit out of order. But I think this just goes to show their whole level, like, his value for his relationship with his kids. I'm going to be completely honest. Either that or just what the hell is written on that electronic journal. That's what I want to know. This is just strange. But no, I would quite like to hear more about this this Pam bodtcher person. I do think that would be very interesting to hear her side of the story. She's the president of the connections thing. Like, we need to know from her side of the story. Now, the police, which I didn't actually mention earlier, which is what I've just realised after watching this clip back, they did actually go and, news reporters, I think, knocked on their door to try and get, her to say something, and she didn't answer. But I hope that police have investigated her, because even if she is completely clear of any wrongdoings, I still think that is something you really need to look into, because she aligns herself. She's literally in business with these other 2 women. I didn't even realise there was a third person, I'm going to be completely honest. I just thought it was Ruby and Jody. Maybe Pam has just given a lot of money towards it. Who really knows? We still do not know when the next court hearing is going to be. They said any time after the 5th. I just find this is just weird. I think the psychology behind all of this is fascinating, but the actual circumstance is horrifying. I hope that makes sense and that is considerate, because it's honestly just the way that I feel. I feel like the dynamic between the family members and the kind of psychological aspect behind everything that the connection stood for, what Jodie Hildebrandt's done with her past clients, the level of gaslighting and control they have over their husbands and over their family members. I think it's just something that's so alien within my life, I suppose, and a lot of other people's lives, that you can't quite believe it would happen. And I think that's the reason why it makes it so interesting to hear about. But then, of course, with the whole the child abuse aspect, it's just so sad that this has to be the way that it turned out. But I literally wish nothing but the best for those children at this present time. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video.